Welcome to the course of data science. Today we will talk about computational thinking, which is unit number 1.5 of our course. So let's move to the next slide. Okay. So this picture gives you a very good overview about what is the actual computation thinking. But before going into the detail of this diagram, I would like to briefly give an overview about what is actually computational thinking. Computational thinking is a process of using abstraction and decomposition when attacking a large complex task or designing a large complex system. So this is a basic definition of computational thinking. Let me explain the detailed concept behind computation thinking. Actually, we want to solve a bigger problem, but how we will solve a bigger problem? We first need to tackle a comparatively smaller problem and then try to solve this problem. And once we will identify that how we can solve this particular problem, then we can generalize this concept for a bigger problem, and then we can solve our problem of any size. So if you can see this picture, then you can easily able to identify that the whole computational thinking involves 3 steps. Number 1, problem formulation. Also, it covers abstraction, then solution expression, automation, and then solution execution and evaluation, analysis. Okay, so what is actually problem formulation? We are also using a term of abstraction, which is basically, what is actually abstraction? Abstraction hides the details. It gives you a high level overview of the problem rather than going into the minor details, the implement and the fine details, or the implementation side, or the minor issues. We need to focus on the high level. For example, just take an example of abstraction. We all uses different type of hardwares, different type of basically machines at home as well, like maybe our AC split. How this AC split is actually developed, how different components are working inside, how they are actually interacting with each other. It's a very complex thing. For a consumer, we don't need to bother about these details. If we really need to bother about these things, then if you want to install an AC inverter at your home, then you might have to take a degree of maybe a couple of years to understand this. But definitely this is not required. This is not at all required. Why? Because of the abstraction. We don't need to go into the details how things are actually implemented inside, but we need to just focus on the very high level. A very user-friendly interface, might be you can call it a remote, in which there are different options are available. Maybe there is a guide, there might be a guide available that will assist you that which button is used for which purpose. And we are very much familiar with these type of interfaces. We even no need to go into the guidebook. You just need to go through, oh, this is the button for increasing temperature, this is the button to decrease the temperature, this is for the turbo mode, this is for the fan auto or fan speed, or maybe a timer, or maybe a light option, or maybe start and stop. That's it. We just need to press these buttons to operate this particular hardware, or in this case if our AC inverter. So we don't need to go into the implementation details. What happened inside when we press start button, what happened when we increase temperature or something like that. So the point is basically this is because of abstraction. Abstraction provides you a high level via which we can interact with anything. Abstraction actually hides the details or the implementation details, the complexity hidden inside the actual system. So here, so this is abstraction. Then basically, so we first need to formalize our problem using the concept of abstraction. Then we need to basically design a solution, maybe a manual solution. You might be like, no sir, it is written automation over here. Yeah, in these days, in the modern time, we want to automate things, and that is why we usually we usually not interested in solving problem by hand, but we want to actually automate it, because this might be possible that we can solve a small problem by hand, but if the actual problem is much bigger than that, then it will either not possible, or it might be really very difficult to solve the problem. So in that case, or in majority of the case, we want to automate it. Okay, so we will design our solution, we will automate our solution, and then basically we go towards the solution execution and evaluation, because you have basically formalized the problem, you have implemented the solution, and then basically we can run our solution on a given data to obtain the output. And once we will obtain the output, then we need to understand, we need to evaluate, we need to basically understand what is the output and why this output is obtained, what is the impact of this output, and something like that. So in most of the cases, you know it very well that understanding by number or something like that is comparatively much complex than if we go for some type of visualization. As you are well aware that, and I used to quote it many times, that a picture worth 1,000 of words. So rather than basically reading 1,000 of words, we just, if you have a picture, then it might portray, it might convey the same 1,000 word information in just one single picture. So in most of the cases, we used to understand the finding by using visual techniques, by using some sort of visualization. There are plenty of visualization techniques are actually available. Maybe if you can say some basic visualization technique, like maybe a bar chart or pie chart or dot plot, or maybe heat maps, and so on. So which one you will use for the visualization is actually depending on the data as well, depending on the problem as well. Okay, so so you have to select the one which is most appropriate for your problem and your solution. So it's actually depend on the problem and the solution, on the basis of which you will be using a very appropriate visualization techniques, right? So this is how computational thinking works. So let's take a concrete example of basically finding maximum number. For example, you have 10 numbers and you want to find out which one is basically the maximum, or you want to find out the maximum number out of 10 numbers. So what you will do? You will split this problem into a smaller problem. Like, forget about 10 numbers, just take 2 numbers, compare both of them. The one which is lesser you will eliminate, the other one which is larger you will keep, and then you will come again, pick the third number and compare with this larger number, and then you will find which one is actually larger. The one which is larger in between these two, you will keep that, the other will discard, and you will be keep iterating all the numbers until and unless you will consume all the 10 numbers, and you will get the maximum number out of these 10 numbers. Okay, so here you are actually, what you have done, you have basically splitted your problem into smaller problem. Okay, so why? Because it might not be possible to solve a bigger problem, but it is very easy for you to solve a smaller problem, and that is why you have splitted your problem into a smaller problem. There's another approach, we can call it divide and conquer approach in our algorithms. Anyhow, so this is basically what is abstraction here. So in this case you have 10 number, in other case you might have 100 number, in other case maybe might be you have millions number. Out of that million number you have to find the maximum. So what is the abstraction? You don't need to bother about, you don't need to be worried about the actual number of actual count of the numbers, whether it's a 10 or 100 or million or billion or something like that. You just need to keep abstraction a set of numbers. So what you have used abstraction here, you have a set of numbers. Okay, so something like that. And then basically there's another concept used here, which is actually generalization. First of all, I've talked about basically splitting our problem into smaller problem, which is easy to solve, which is manageable for you or something like that. And then I've talked about abstraction. So in abstraction, we have just worked at the high level, that we want to find out maybe a maximum number out of a set of numbers. Okay, we don't need to worry about whether it's 100 or 1000 and 10,000. So this is abstraction. What is generalization? Generalization is basically, if this concept actually worked on basically 10 set of numbers or 20 numbers or 30 numbers, okay, then it will also work for maybe 1,000 or million and billion numbers. Okay, so this is the concept. So here we have used three concepts. One is actually maybe the divide and conquer approach, or splitting our bigger problem into smaller problem. Then we have talked about abstraction, and then we have talked about generalization. So in the problem formulation, you will be using this concept to formalize your problem. Like we have formalized that we have a set of numbers out of which we need to find out which one is actually maximum. Okay, then move towards the solution expression. Okay, so in solution expression, now you have to basically express this solution. We have already talked about, for example, in this case the solution is like compare two number. If one is actually the one which is actually greater than the other number, you will keep this as a maximum number and discard the other number, and then you will compare with the third one and fourth one and fifth one and so on, and until and unless you will consume all the numbers and you will get the maximum number. So this is the solution expression. But of course, if you know programming, if you have to solve a bigger problem, or in which you have basically millions of numbers, then definitely you will be writing some program, or you will be automating this solution so that it will perform by the computer. Okay, so this is basically solution expression. And in most of the cases, the solution which you have devised, like comparing two number and then you will comparing with the other number and so on, is actually a solution. Whether you will be doing it manually or whether you will be doing automatically, or by using automation, or by with the help of computer. So probably we will be using computer, so we will be writing some piece of code to automate it. Okay, so problem formulation, in which you have basically first formalized the problem. What is the problem actually? And the problem was actually you have a series of number, or you have a basic set of numbers, and you have to find out the maximum out of it. This is problem formulation. And we use the concept of abstraction without going into the details that how we will be implementing it, how you will be basically doing this, which type of algorithm we will be doing this. No, we are not concerned about it. In abstraction, we are just defining our problem at the higher level. But at the solution expression level, you will be designing your solution to solve the problem defined in the problem formulation phase, using the concept of abstraction. You might be thinking about that I have used basically two other concepts like like generalization, or maybe splitting our problem into smaller problems, something that like this. So that is basically, those terms are actually used to define the overall concept. But remember this, in problem formulation we are not designing the solution. I have just used these two terms to relate with the abstraction. However, in the using the concept of abstraction, we are just working at the high level without going into the deeper details of how to implement it, how to design it, how to automate it, and something like that. Okay, so in abstraction you just need to define problem at the high level, and the solution expression you will be using the concept of basically maybe the generalization, and maybe be something like divide and conquer approach, or maybe something else to solve your problem, maybe from some subset problem to superset problem. Maybe first of all you have basically splitted a problem and you have only solved a part of it, and then gradually you will be building your solution to solve the overall problem. You might be aware of different techniques like dynamic programming, like divide and conquer approach, and so many things. So many algorithms are actually and so many approaches are available to solve a particular problem. So it actually depends on the problem itself, that which approach is actually appropriate for that particular problem. Okay, so this is how it works. Then once you have implemented, once you have designed your solution, you have expressed your solution either manually or a manual way, or maybe using automation by writing some piece of code, then you will be solving a real problem. Like in this case, I have given 1,000 numbers and I want to find which one is actually maximum. Which one is actually maximum among them. So you already have formalized, you already have expressed your solution. Now you have to run your solution on a given data. Once you will run, it will produce the output. And then once the output will be generated, you will be evaluated whether this is correct, whether this is wrong, first of all. And then basically, you want to further analyze that what actually it is representing, what information is inside in this particular outcome. For example, if you are finding the maximum number, but the numbers are actually representing the age of the human being. So after you performing for example maximum number finding, you found that in basically maybe you have performed this type of maximum finding for 5-10 different data set, and each data set belong to one country, and then you have plotted like that. For example, in Pakistan maybe maximum age is 50 or 60, in America maybe 70, in maybe some other European country maybe 75 or something like that. So you use 3 different data set of age from 3 different countries, and then you have basically find the maximum number using this approach, and then you perform a visualization to compare, to understand that the maximum age of basically people living in these countries are basically how they are actually, which country has basically maximum age even among these 3 countries or something like that. So whatever output in journal, whatever output, whatever solution produced by your algorithm will be analyzed or visualized in this phase. Okay, so this is actually computational thinking. So using computational thinking, you can solve many complex problem, or you can say from very basic problem to very complex problem. People normally assumes that computational thinking is only relevant to computer science, or maybe its relevant field. However, computational thinking is relevant to every person, because we all need to solve our problems. We need to have computational thinking so that we can solve real world problems, whether we are automating or whether we are not automating. So in any case, we are going for the automation or not, we need to first formalize the problem, we need to express a solution, and then we have to evaluate our solution. No matter you are solving a problem from the civil engineering domain, no matter you are solving a problem with the HR domain, no matter you are solving a problem from financial domain or educational domain or anything else. In every case, a disciplined approach to solve a particular problem is by using this step-by-step approach, which is actually comprises of 3 phases. The problem formulation, we use the concept of abstraction here. The solution expression, we generally use the concept of automation here. And then basically we go for the solution execution and evaluation. Of course, the objective here is actually we want to perform analysis. Okay, so this is basically a basic overview about computational thinking. And of course, in computational thinking domain, even we can use the concept from data science, because you know it very well. Maybe if you want to develop a prediction system, a forecasting system, maybe we want to basically create clusters of basically data or something like that. Or even if you want to develop a recommendation system, or your problem solution required a recommendation system, then you might need to take help from the data science domain. Okay, so computational thinking is a generalized thing, and to solve a particular problem, you might need to take help from data science. Okay, so this is actually a brief overview about the computational thinking. So with this, I want to conclude our today's lecture. And remember, a disciplined approach is always important to solve a problem in a particular way, or to solve a problem in a disciplined way. So that is why, no matter you are a computer scientist, you are an engineer, you are a social scientist or something else, you need to develop computational thinking skills. And for that, this is a very high level overview of steps which we need to follow in order to be a very disciplined person to solve a problem belongs to your own domain. Okay, so with this, I want to end today's lecture, and in the next lecture we will talk about skills for data science. Till then, thank you very much.